Well, we had a few showers and thunderstorms developing yesterday afternoon. This was a picture out of Spring Lake of one of those thunderstorm clouds, one of the cumulonimbus clouds off on the horizon. Luckily, Spring Lake, with all the boaters out there, didn't see any rainfall. You guys were too close to Lake Michigan to have that issue. Could see that again today, but it's more so going to be us keeping an eye on our record, which is 90 degrees today, set back in 2010. We have the forecast at 89, but would not be surprised if we tied or maybe broke that record by a degree. 90 is definitely a possibility out there today, especially if you don't get under any of those rain showers or thunderstorms. We're going to be at 68 here in just about 13 minutes or so. By noon, we're already in the lower 80s, then the upper 80s to round out our day. Yesterday, we were in the middle to upper 80s, and it's actually going to feel like it's in the lower to middle 90s today with all that humidity out there and those temperatures approaching 90. So a hot and humid day, probably going to be one of the warmest we see this year, and we are just getting into summer right now. So maybe that has signs of what's to come into June and July. Regardless, going to be one of those days where you're going to have to find some way to stay cool. We are going to stay in the muggy conditions, not only today, but stretching into Wednesday and Thursday. But some good news, it's going to go down quickly into our Friday. We're going to be back into the fresh category for our dew points. Those dew points back into the 50s and 40s. This weekend is going to be more like April or May when it comes to those temperatures, into the 70s, or at least a little bit closer to May, maybe the early portion of May. Temperatures around 70 degrees with really no humidity at all Saturday and Sunday. We're in the lower to middle 60s right now. 64 Hastings up towards Kalamazoo, 67 in Battle Creek, Charlotte at 64, South Haven also at 64 degrees, 64 in Cedar Springs, 63 in Ionia, 66 Muskegon, 65 in Whitehall, Attrition at 62 degrees, 61 in Big Rapids, 65 in Hart, Pentwater at 62 degrees, Hersey at 59. Enjoy the cooler temperatures this morning. If you want to go for a run or a walk today, would suggest doing so in the early morning hours because that's when the UV index is going to be low. You won't have to really worry about getting any sunburn or having any issues with the sunshine because the UV index is going to be low the first couple of hours of the day today. And it's also going to be cool enough in the 70s before we race into the 80s for this afternoon. As we look towards the evening, are going to see an increase in cloud cover. We really don't have any clouds out there right now, but we will go partly cloudy to partly sunny and can't rule out that isolated shower or thunderstorm later on this afternoon and evening. Better chance of some scattered showers tomorrow and especially into our Thursday. That'll hold our temperatures down into the lower and middle 80s on Wednesday and the upper 70s into our Thursday. That's when the slow climb down towards normal for these temperatures will actually start to happen. We'll see a stronger cold front working its way through on Thursday, dropping those temps into the 70s and near 70 on Saturday and Sunday. Some spots may not even hit 70, maybe in the 60s the entire weekend. Not terrible for this time of the year, just below normal, as normal right now is 72.